off what he pulled off, so I'm in awe. And I'll just say this, and I mean it. When George Washington defended his country, he had no idea.
Hello, friends. I want to share with you an interesting episode from American politics related to the victory of Donald Trump in the presidential election. Many Hollywood stars, who had previously been criticized for their conservative views and disagreement with the ideology of inclusivity, began to speak louder and more confidently. For example, Sylvester Stallone, who knows no equal, made an emotional speech at the evening dedicated to the victory of the billionaire. It was not just a speech, but a real cry of the soul. The actor said that the United States is in a state of complete decline, noted that war with Russia is unacceptable, and stressed that only Donald Trump is able to stop the degradation of a country standing on the edge of the abyss. But let's dig deeper to understand the context. Stallone, whose name has long been associated with strength, determination, and courage, once again found himself at the center of a scandal that rocked the world of show business. The same Sylvester Stallone, who became an icon thanks to his roles in Rocky and Rambo, unexpectedly came under a barrage of criticism. Fans, critics, and colleagues were divided into two camps. This time he is accused of being toxic and violent on set. It seems paradoxical because he has always been associated with positive, heroic characters. How did this story begin? The focus was on the TV series The King of Tulsa, where Stallone played the main role. This project became for him not just another job, but a manifesto of traditional values and the old school. His hero, a retired mafia boss, does not want to adapt to modern trends and defends his integrity. But it was for this that the series and Stallone were severely criticized by supporters of inclusivity and political correctness. Why did this cause such a resonance? In one scene, Stallone's character mockingly speaks out about modern concepts of inclusivity and political correctness. Although it looked like a joke, the reaction of the activists was extremely harsh. They accused the series and the actor of promoting toxic masculinity. This episode has become the subject of lively debate, calling into question the place of traditional views in modern society. What do you think, friends? Is such a reaction justified? The accusations against Sylvester Stallone soon took a new turn. He was criticized for supporting traditional and therefore outdated male ideals. Opponents of this worldview accused the actor of promoting gender roles, which, in their opinion, do not correspond to modern realities, where the concept of gender becomes flexible and tolerance and equality are proclaimed the highest values. The TV series The King of Tulsa was at the center of this controversy. It is not just a crime drama, but also a symbol that old ideas, films, and values can still exist despite the pressure of modern social standards. However, such a challenge to social trends could not go unnoticed. Stallone, instead of making excuses, took a principled position. He stated that cinema should remain an art, not a tool for social reform. I grew up in a world where words mattered. Today it seems that their meaning is being lost under the pressure of political correctness, the actor said. These words quickly spread across the web, causing a violent reaction. Some called Stallone a defender of traditional values.
Someone's got to go through a metamorphosis and change lives, just like President Trump.
Others a relic of the past. But he didn't back down. In response to criticism of his character in The King of Tulsa, which, according to some, threatens inclusivity, the actor again expressed his opinion. Films should be a story, not a political platform. These words underline Sylvester's belief that art should be free from the dictates of social trends. In his speech, he added that society has no right to require actors or directors to conform to fashionable social norms, especially when they contradict common sense. Notable was his emotional monologue delivered at the gala evening in honor of Donald Trump's election victory. Stallone acted like an ordinary American worried about the future of the country. His words became a real cry of the soul. Good evening, friends. I'm not here today as an actor, not as a director, not as Rocky or Rambo. I stand before you as an American who is pained to see what our great country is turning into. The America we loved and were proud of is going downhill. The culture of inclusivity has penetrated into all spheres: art, cinema, education, sports. We are told that we must apologize for our history, for our values. It's not just absurd, it's a betrayal. This speech provoked a powerful response. It divided the audience into those who support Stallone and see him as a defender of Native American ideals, and those who consider him a symbol of an outdated worldview. Next, Stallone, almost breaking his voice, continues, "America was built on hard work, courage, and the belief that everyone is capable of success. But what do we see today? Instead of supporting talent and effort, we are forced to accept absurd ideas. Young people are taught to be ashamed of their country, to hate its history. Instead of inspiring a new generation with strength and achievements, they are being turned into victims. Look at what this has led to. Our cities are being destroyed, unemployment is rising, small businesses are being destroyed by taxes and bureaucracy. Police officers are afraid to perform their duties, fearing that one wrong move will ruin their lives. In schools, children are taught that biology is just a construct, not a science. How did we get to this point? We are on the verge of war with Russia and China. But why? We are sending billions of dollars overseas to corrupt regimes, while ordinary Americans are barely making ends meet. Our infrastructure is crumbling, and we continue to send weapons abroad, increasing instability and bringing the threat of nuclear conflict closer. When I was creating Rocky, do you remember the first scene? The camera shows Jesus depicted on the wall with the inscription, Sunday. This church has been converted into a boxing gym. I started with this symbol because Rocky was about a man who had to go through a metamorphosis, changing himself and the lives of others. And now, as then, we see a leader who can change the course of history. Donald Trump, without exaggeration, is a figure of mythical proportions. Like George Washington, he is fighting for the future of his country, and I say this sincerely. Just as Washington changed the world by protecting America, so Trump is able to save us today. It's not just a crisis, it's a disaster. We are standing on the edge of a precipice, and if we don't stop now, we will lose everything. But we are Americans. We are not backing down. Now is not the time for political correctness. This is a time of determination, strength, and patriotism. America needs a leader to pull it out of the swamp. America is more than a country or a flag. It's an idea, a dream that has inspired millions. And today we need to protect her. America can be great again if we act, believe in ourselves, and support those who lead us to a better future. We have no right to lose the dream that makes America great. And if we stand united, if we fight like true patriots, we will take back our country. As Rocky used to say, it doesn't matter how hard you hit, it matters how hard you get hit, and you still go forward. We need to go forward for the sake of our children, for the sake of the future, for the sake of America. Thank you, and may the Lord keep us safe. Let me remind you, dear friends, that Sylvester Stallone showed incredible courage by openly criticizing Biden's policies without waiting for the election results. He was not afraid to express his point of view, realizing that it could cost him his reputation in an industry where democratic views prevail. His decision to move from Rainbow, California to more conservative Texas has become not just a symbol, but also an open challenge to a system that suppresses dissent. Stallone has shown that he is not going to hide or change his beliefs under pressure from Hollywood, which is completely riddled with fear of losing contracts and public condemnation. The Biden administration and its supporters did everything to make life as difficult as possible for those actors and celebrities who refused to support their course. They used public pressure, boycotts, and even threats against those who dared to tell the truth. Against this background, Stallone's act becomes especially significant. Not only did he maintain his integrity, but he also inspired others to speak their minds openly, despite the risks. His position is an example of how fortitude and loyalty to one's beliefs can become a counterweight to imposed censorship and political dictates. Sylvester Stallone's emotional performance reflected the profound changes that are brewing in the United States. At the center of these changes is Donald Trump, who is preparing to take over the presidency again. Unlike the first term, he intends to rely on a proven team of professionals, forming a new administration, which, as he himself said, will be the key to success. The first term in the White House was a lesson. Back then, I trusted people I barely knew, and that led to problems. I won't make the same mistakes this time. Trump is forming a team of young, determined politicians with a pronounced position against the ideology of the culture of abolition and excessive U.S. intervention in international conflicts. The average age of these specialists is about 43 years old. They are called a symbol of a new revolution in the White House aimed at returning America to traditional values and sound governance. One of the most discussed initiatives is the reform of the state apparatus. Inspired by the experience of Elon Musk, who cut 80% of Twitter's staff, Trump plans to optimize federal departments, reducing their number to 99. Musk himself said that the American bureaucracy is too cumbersome, and management requires more determination and less paperwork. Many already consider Musk a potential key Trump ally in the future. The U.S. state machine is too bloated. Effective management requires less bureaucracy and more action, Musk said. This idea is causing fierce debate. Massive cuts and a drastic restructuring of power are expected. But supporters see this as a step towards updating the system. On the international stage, Trump intends to reduce U.S. involvement in costly conflicts, including the confrontation in Eastern Europe. America will no longer pay for other people's wars. Our taxes should work for us, not for distant countries, he said. This policy of isolationism is criticized by Democrats, who call it a threat to international stability. However, supporters are convinced that focusing on internal problems is the only way to save the country's economy. Rumors about a possible attempt by Trump to run for a third term, which is prohibited by the Constitution, caused a special resonance. The politician himself did not rule out such a scenario, saying, "If the people want, I will stay. Laws exist for people, not the other way around." Experts compare Trump to Roman dictator Sulla, known for his radical reforms and fight against corruption. Such measures may lead to the restoration of the former power of the United States, but they also threaten to increase the division in society. When Trump returns to the White House, the country will face large-scale reforms, purges in the state apparatus, and a new course in domestic and foreign policy. This will be a turning point for America. Supporters believe that a strong hand can lead the country out of crisis, while opponents warn of a possible threat to democracy. Which way will America choose? We will find out the answer soon. Sylvester Stallone deserves great respect for his honesty and courage, especially in a difficult political situation in the United States. His willingness to openly criticize cultural and social distortions in his own country, as well as to oppose the artificial imposition of new norms, is an example of genuine integrity. His sound approach to international relations is particularly impressive. He openly says that conflicts with Russia are not necessary, that hostile rhetoric only destroys stability. Such a voice of reason is rare, especially in an environment where many politicians and media figures are stoking tension. At the same time, Joe Biden's administration demonstrates the opposite, a complete lack of ability for constructive dialogue and strategic thinking. Instead of focusing on the problems of their country, the United States continues to get into other people's conflicts, provoking instability and threatening peace. Russia is not an enemy for America, but a potential partner in solving global challenges. But Biden seems to be doing everything to make this chance go away. His policy is not only an internal crisis, but also a source of tension in the world, especially after his last order, but more on that later. Now I want to thank you for your attention, friends. Write your opinion about the material and subscribe. I wish you good health. See you soon.